Welcome to the Unnamed Podcast inaugural episode, first one of the new podcast. My name is Castel Gandolfo, also known as the Full-Bearded Goddess. And I'm joined by my longtime best bud and podcast co-host.
Hi, I'm Martin.
Hello, Martin.
Hi.
So we used to do a podcast like a year ago, and we stopped, but we're back at it. It's going to be basically the same format. We're just going to talk about how our weeks went, maybe do some devotional. I don't have a devotional this week, but maybe we'll add that back in to the format. And then we always did topics. Do we want to do the same thing where we just kind of have a vague like topic section, or do we want to skip that and go straight to stories, or do we want to put something else in that section?
I think we should have a vague topic section.
Okay, that's cool. So that if there's anything like that's not necessarily like personal, but just kind of world news related, or just something interesting that we want to share, we can put that in that section.
Yeah, we can talk about the rising interest rate.
Yeah, I would love to hear about that. If you have any, is that going to be this week's topic?
Yeah.
Good.
Well, you said something about what's going on in the world.
And then we'll after that talk about our stories, which I don't have any new stuff to my story, but maybe since it's the first episode of our new podcast, maybe we should just like recap our stories up to this point.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right.
For all the new listeners so they can be caught up. We don't have to like read the whole first chapter of our stories, but maybe just kind of do a recap.
Okay.
If that's cool with you.
Yeah, it might be. I don't know.
Okay.
I've just been working on other things. And
me too. So
maybe I can have a reading where I don't read my. How about I'm supposed to read my book, but I read something good like Dostoevsky and I say it's mine.
Sure.
And you're like, wow, Martin, this is really profound.
I wouldn't know any better. I'd be like, man, Martin, this is really good.
He really writes like he's a Russian man who's been dead for 300 years.
Really? Yeah. Yeah. So let's get straight to it. How's your week been?
My week, I've been enjoying.
Do we want to say anything about like the past like 9 months or whatever we haven't been recording, or do we just want to just jump back into our weeks?
Let's start off with our weeks.
Okay.
It's like we're sitting down at a coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting settled.
Yeah.
Okay. So my week, I've been enjoying my week. It's the first vacation I've had since Christmas off of my job as a tutor.
Oh, really?
And since a couple months ago, I got another job as a delivery driver. Mm-hmm. So I was working. My only days off were Tuesdays and Fridays, which meant I didn't have a weekend.
Oh, no.
So basically, it's just really nice to have 2 weeks off now. And for my new tutoring schedule, I've asked that they put all my days consecutive.
Yeah.
So that way my 2 days off will be more like a weekend.
Are your 2 days off going to be the actual weekend, or did you just choose?
Well, my delivery driving job is always on the weekend. So that's not changing.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I won't get to enjoy the weekend like a normal and mostly functioning human being.
Like me.
Yeah, like you. I mean, the job's not terrible. A lot of the time, people don't come in, so I just sit there.
So what do? Do you just kind of sit and play on your phone or listen to podcasts?
I have a variety of options. I can brush up on my skills, like my math skills and whatnot.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
If I don't feel like that, then I might like apply to other jobs, which seems like something of a betrayal, but I need to do it. Or I'll just like play RuneScape on my computer or something.
Has anyone ever like walked in while you're playing RuneScape or something?
No, but one of the other tutors used to always be playing like Skyrim on his computer.
Nice.
And he didn't care if anyone saw him.
Wow.
Nothing went wrong. So to be honest, he's like set a really bad example.
Oh, yeah, I see.
So there you go. Yeah.
From our last, when I was listening to our previous podcasts, in a couple episodes, you were talking about your cake list.
Oh my gosh!
And you had
let me
gotten
pull
up to like Arania Galuska. Yeah.
Let me pull up the list.
Continue with that at all?
So you said I got up to Arani Galuska?
Yes.
Okay. That one went really poorly. They came out like KFC biscuits.
Yeah, I know. You mentioned that on the podcast, but I didn't know if you had gone beyond that.
I did. I have. I've done.
Oh.
I've done 6 since then.
What?
Yeah.
Holy cow! Well, I guess it has been a while since we recorded.
The one after that was avocado cake.
Right. Yeah.
So that's like sort of like a regular old pound cake, but you use avocado in the batter, and it comes out green. And it you wouldn't think of avocado as something sweet, but it comes out sweet, and it's very tasty.
Is it kind of like is it anything like a carrot cake, or is it?
No, because when you have a carrot cake, they're like bits of carrot, and it's topped with cream cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Avocado cake has, I think, just a sugar icing, and there aren't chunks of avocado or anything. It's just like smooth batter.
Interesting. Did it turn out well?
Yeah, it turned out well.
Sweet.
And the cool part about it is that it's green.
Yeah. That would be a good like holiday cake, like to have like for Christmas or something.
Yeah.
Put, like, red icing on it.
Well, it's funny you say that because there is a Christmas cake. But I haven't made that yet. Maybe I need to like ramp up my efforts in order to get Christmas cake by Christmas. Because there are like a billion cakes under the letter B.
All right, so what were the other 5 you did?
Okay, so there's babka, which is Polish.
Oh.
So it's like a ring cake. So, well, not a ring cake. It's like you make it in a ring-shaped tin, so it has a hole in the center. Mm-hmm. It's a yeast cake. That doesn't mean it's like bad or anything, because that sounds kind of bad. It just means it's made a bit differently. The dough has to rise before you cook it. Similar
to a donut?
Yeah, actually.
That's what I always think of when I hear yeast.
Okay. Well, it is actually like that. And you make it with rum, and the icing is rum icing. It's quite tasty.
Delicious.
Yeah, it is delicious. I made balo kume next, which is Albanian.
Okay.
And you make it using corn flour. And they come out as little cakes, but I think I don't remember what I did, but I made them wrong. And they came out flat, and while they were kind of tasty, they were extremely dry. They were basically like sweet cornbread.
Oh, interesting.
That was a disappointment.
Yeah.
After that, I made banana cake, which it came out well, but it wasn't very exciting. It was just banana cake. Oh, and I made way too much. So I couldn't finish it. I had to throw some of it away because it was getting moldy.
No! Did you put nuts in it? Like a banana nut muffin?
No, I hate nuts in soft things. I think it's offensive. And I wish people would stop telling me to put nuts in food.
Dang it.
I'm not some kind of Nazi.
Some kind of nutsy?
Some kind of Nazi, yeah. Do you want to hear what's next?
Yes.
Okay, so the one after that was basbousa.
Basbousa.
That's a Lebanese cake. Actually, it's like an Arabic cake.
Okay.
Make it a lot in the Middle East. And it was pretty cool. It's really interesting. It has coconut, and it's sort of like a coconut cake, and you dot it with almonds on the top, which is fine. That's kind of okay because the nuts aren't really in the cake; they're on top of the cake.
Oh, so if it's like on top of the cake, it's fine.
Yeah, if it's like mixed in, I don't want that.
Okay.
But the thing is, you have to pour syrup on the... Okay, let me try to explain this.
Like maple syrup?
No, you have to make your own syrup. And syrup is literally just water and sugar boiled. That's all it is.
Oh.
So what you're meant to do is you're meant to, I think after it either during or after it cooks, I don't remember, you're meant to cut it open, then pour syrup, so that the syrup soaks in between the cracks and gets into the cake itself. And then once that's done, you pour more syrup onto the... Oh, no, you just have to let it dissolve into the cake. Now, the problem is, I hadn't cut it enough, so the syrup hardened on the top and formed an impenetrable layer. So I had to break past the syrup and eat it from there. And of course, since the syrup hadn't soaked into the cake itself, it was astonishingly dry.
Oh.
So it wasn't good. It was a failure.
Man.
But the final cake I'll bring up today is, so far, it's my crowning achievement, and astonishingly delicious. It's called batik cake. It's from Malaysia. Now, it's a non-baked cake.
Oh.
What you do to make it is you need a couple eggs, you need some condensed milk, and you need Ovaltine, or like a Nesquik mix.
Oh, really?
So like chocolate milk powder.
Yeah.
Then you sort of mix it all together in a pot and you boil it. And then you have to, in a cake pan, you need these little Mary biscuits. Do you know what those are?
No.
They're sort of like butter. They're like little, kind of like butter biscuits.
Okay.
They're like lightly sweet. You put some of those biscuits in a cake pan, and then you pour the mix onto it, and then you put more biscuits in, then you pour the mix, and you layer it. You do that over and over and layer it. And then you wrap it up like a Christmas present. Not with wrapping paper, but you get my point. And then you
like saran wrap?
Yeah, something like that, parchment paper. Then you put it into the fridge and let it cool overnight. Then once that's done, you take it out, and it is the most amazing thing you'll ever taste.
Wow.
It is so good.
Huh. Making me hungry.
It is. It's delicious. So, yeah, those are the 6 cakes I made. I've kind of stalled for the next one. There's this type of German cake called Baumkuchen. Now, the problem with this cake is that it's actually usually made by street vendors.
Okay.
And they make it over a spit.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know about you, but I don't have a spit handy.
No. I have spit handy, but that's what you're talking about.
Fantastic. Well, that's good for you, but I have to like do a really weird home recipe where I make a rod out of tin foil, and then I pour the batter of the cake into like a pan over the stove, and then I roll. Once it kind of starts to harden, I have to like spread it with some kind of oil and roll it onto the rod I've made.
Wow.
Then I have to do that with over and over again. Like, so keep pouring more and more layers. It's kind of like making really thin pancakes or crepes, which you stick to the rod and you keep layering them up on top of one another.
Interesting.
And then when it's done, you take the rod out and you slice it up and you have little mini Baumkuchen.
Okay. It sounds delicious, but also like it requires a lot of skill.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. But I mean, I'm definitely going to need a lot of skill to make all these cakes.
Yeah.
Because by the end of it, I have to make a wedding cake.
Right.
You know?
Be a feat.
It'll be a real feat. I'm looking at all the cakes right now and they look delicious. I'm excited for Battenberg cake and caterpillar cake.
Ooh. What are those?
A Battenberg cake is a little marzipan cake. Marzipan's made from almond.
Okay.
A caterpillar cake. Have you ever had a Swiss roll before?
I think so.
Have you ever had a
Hostess or the Little Debbie one?
Yeah. So caterpillar cake is like a really big, long Swiss roll with, like, it's decorated to look like a caterpillar.
Aw, cool.
So it's like for children.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
going to come before the Christmas cake.
Yes,
Yeah, if it's alphabetical.
it is. Some of it's
Okay.
not alphabetical, which bothers me.
Really?
Yeah, they're just lumped into like the same first letter.
Interesting.
There you have it. That's my life goal, is making cakes.
Yeah.
Once I finish that, I feel comfortable dying.
Yeah, we had this whole conversation about how you won't be able to die until you finish the last cake.
Yeah, really. Like, this will keep me alive.
Do you want me to share my week?
Yeah, that's it. I got pretty sidetracked there.
No problem. I wanted to hear about the cakes. All right, so here's my week. Last Sunday, my church had its 40-year anniversary. So my church has been around for 40 years, apparently. I don't think it's always been Community Presbyterian Church, but the church itself as like a, as a church.
The community.
Yeah, has been around for 40 years. So that was pretty cool. We got to they actually had so normally my church just has a piano as the instrument for worship. But for the 40th anniversary, they had a violin, a cello, and I think a trumpet or something.
Okay.
And it actually sounded really cool. It was interesting because the music was kind of loud. So the people singing had to sing a lot louder than normal to actually be heard at all. But I think it was kind of cool, just singing louder and singing with music.
Shouting.
What do you say?
Shouting.
Yeah, shouting our praises. It's kind of cool. Yeah, and we had some former pastors come in and do certain things. Like one of the former pastors did some scripture reading. One of them did a prayer, I believe, and one of them did a benediction at the end.
Okay.
It's kind of cool just to get all the former pastors to return to the church and kind of participate in the celebration.
Can you remind me what a benediction is?
It's at the end. It's when they bless the congregation and say, Lord keep you and make his face shine on you.
Yeah, I should know that.
I don't know if they do that in the Anglican church, but
they do. They definitely do.
Yeah.
And they did that in the Catholic Church too, so I definitely should have known.
Yeah, where the preacher raises his hands.
Yep.
And everybody kind of receives the blessing. That's the benediction.
Well, especially the reason I say I should have known is because I just read a book called The Anglican Way where they explain that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
I've got this book list, or not book list, but I've got some books from that church that the priest wants me to read before I officially become an Anglican.
Yeah. So do you have the Book of Common Prayer? Or wait, is that Anglican or is that?
It is Anglican. I don't have one.
I have one.
Do you really?
I do, because my mom used to be Episcopal, which is a branch of the Anglican Church.
Yeah, so since you're not Anglican, you have to give me that book.
I'll give it to you. That'd be fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with me having it.
And all your money.
Okay.
Because I'm Anglican.
Sure.
And keep on going talking about your week. I'm interrupting.
Okay. Tuesday, I had lunch with my pastor, Pastor Jonathan Cruz. We went to Panera. I almost said Pandora. We went to Panera.
I'm going to say Penn and Teller.
We went to Panera. Just kind of talked about life and stuff. And then after work, I went to my grandma Betty's house and visited her and my sister. So my sister's living at my grandma's house now, the same grandma that I used to live with. A couple weeks ago, we cleaned out her attic and brought all the boxes of stuff downstairs, or put them in the garage if it's trash.
Mm-hmm.
And we stripped all the carpet in the attic and repainted the walls. So it's looking really nice up there. And my sister moved in so that my grandma has like somebody there to keep an eye on her and everything.
All right.
It's cool. And the corgi's there too, so.
All right.
Yep. So yeah, my sister. So I hung out with my sister and my grandma for a little bit. Mostly just ate pizza and watched the news because I mean that's really all my grandma does is just watch TV. But it was cool.
Not much to do when you're old in the suburbs.
Yeah, especially since she's like on oxygen now and has a walker, so she has to use a walker to get around, and she's kind of tethered to her oxygen machine.
Yeah.
So, but I think she's doing okay. So that's good.
Okay, good.
And then also on Tuesday I started cleaning my basement. Basically just sorted things, stacked some boxes in the corner, and got things organized, sweeped up. I vacuumed all the cobwebs and stuff. So just got it kind of a little bit more livable. Wednesday I didn't really do much except for texting you about getting back into podcasting.
Yeah.
Just because I was kind of listening to our podcasts and sort of feeling nostalgic, and I was like, man, I want to do that again. So here we are.
Yeah.
On Thursday, my family went to Brand's for dinner, and then we went to my parents' house and watched Endgame.
All right.
It was pretty cool because that's out now, so I bought it on DVD and took it to my parents, and we watched that. You've seen that, right?
Yeah, I wish I saw it a second time though in theaters. Ugh.
Yeah. I saw it once in theaters, and then I saw it with my parents. It was good both times.
I saw it opening night.
Ooh, really?
I'm pretty cool. Yeah, the rest of the audience was actually really annoying.
Oh man, was anybody dressed up? Were you dressed up?
Oh no, we weren't. There was like this teenage girl who like reacted noisily and emphatically every time something happened.
Oh my gosh, was she like sitting near you?
It felt like it. Well, there's like that scene in the beginning. Spoilers. Where this is
spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but it's been out for quite a while. So.
Yes. Where Hawkeye's family disappears. It like in that shot where it pans to them and they're gone and you just see like the dust floating away. This girl just went and she's like
oh my gosh. Way to spoil the moment.
Yeah.
So Friday I got internet at my house. I got the internet on Wednesday, but I finally got it to work on Friday so that we could do podcasting and probably eventually play Minecraft.
Definitely Minecraft.
Yeah. But after I finished setting up my internet and finally got it to work, and I was doing laundry, I went downstairs to get my laundry out of the washer, and I realized that the sink, which my washer drains into, is clogged, and all the water that drained out of my washer overflowed the sink end and just splashed onto the floor. So, yeah, I had to get all of the towels in my house and soak it up from the floor because my basement doesn't have a drain in the floor. So, yeah, I had to soak it up and then I had to dry those towels and then use them again to soak up the additional water and dry them again. And yeah, and my sink is still clogged. My dad gave me a snake, the drain snake things, and it didn't really work. It wouldn't go around the bend in the pipe, so the pipe goes down and bends up, and then it goes down again. But the snake would not go past the bend. It would just run into the wall and wouldn't go. It wouldn't go around the bend. So what I might have to do is actually take the pipe or take the bend off of the pipe and just have a bucket underneath to catch the water.
Okay.
But I don't actually know how to do that because it didn't look like you could just screw it off. but there might be a way. I might need a special tool or something, but yeah. So the joys of owning a home.
Yeah, you have to do these things now that you're an adult.
Yep, exactly.
Do you want to go back to childhood yet?
No, I don't mind it. I like living in a house and having independence and freedom to do my own thing and stuff. So
When you said having independence, I thought you said having attendance. You're like people doing things for you.
Yep, precisely. But yeah, so on Saturday, my family watched the 5th Harry Potter movie because we're going through all the Harry Potters in preparation for our vacation to Universal Studios in September.
Isn't that the worst one?
The 5th one?
The worst one.
I don't think so. Well, I don't really like the earlier ones.
Okay.
Like the 1st and 2nd one, I'm not a huge fan of. 3rd one's okay. 4th one's 5th one is okay. My favorite is the 6th one.
Okay.
And then the 7th one, part 1 and part 2 are pretty good.
I just remember seeing the 5th one for my 11th birthday or something and being bored out of my mind.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. It's the one with Dolores Umbridge.
Yeah, I vaguely remember.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's too bad.
I do. I think the 4th one was the one I liked the most.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been big on Harry Potter in the first place.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
The Goblet of
I like
Fire.
the 6th. I think I like the 6th one mainly because of Professor Slughorn.
I might not have seen the 6th one actually. What happens in that one?
It's the Half-Blood Prince, Professor Slughorn, who's played by Jim Broadbent. I don't know if you know who that is.
No.
So he teaches potions at the school, and the textbook for the potions class, Harry gets like a used copy, and the used copy was previously owned by somebody named the Half-Blood Prince, and it has all these notes in it. So basically, Harry is using the notes to cheat, and he's getting the highest grade possible in the class, and everyone thinks he's a potions genius and stuff. Meanwhile, Dumbledore is basically trying to figure out what Voldemort's plan is, which it turns out Voldemort's plan was to create 7 Horcruxes, which do you remember what the Horcruxes are?
No.
Okay, so a Horcrux is basically an object which you place a part of your soul into, so that if you die, a part of your soul still exists in this object. So Voldemort has 7 Horcruxes scattered throughout the region or whatever. So even though he's dead, he still has. Well, he's not dead anymore, but even though he was dead, he still has pieces of his soul scattered about. So that the only way you can kill him is by destroying all of these Horcruxes and then killing him.
Okay.
So Voldemort figures that out, Dumbledore figures that out, and then sets out on a mission to find all the Horcruxes and destroy them. And that kind of occurs from this movie on. Yeah, I think it's funny just because of the actor who plays Professor Slughorn. He's kind of funny. And just his interaction with Harry is pretty silly. So
let me see if I'm gonna look up Professor Slughorn.
Mm-hmm.
See if I remember this at all.
Okay. You should watch the 6th one. It's pretty good.
Jim Broadbent. I don't think I do remember. I don't know. I don't like Harry Potter.
That's fine.
I find it a bit boring.
Whoa, he was born on May 24th. So was I. That's incredible.
Congratulations.
His birth name is, or is that his birth name, or is that his like parents' name? But I think his birth name is Holton cum Beckering.
That's a place, Hayden.
Oh. Ignore that. I thought that was. Oh, it's a village. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's in Lincolnshire.
Sorry.
That's okay. It's funny. I mean, English, like, the names of English places are really weird.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna sound like places in the States, but they don't.
Yeah, Italian places have weird names too.
Yeah, like
Like Castel Gandolfo.
Gandolfo. we really fell for that. Thought like the name of the person being interviewed or something.
Right. It should have been. Oh well. And that is my week.
All right.
Yeah, we would normally proceed from here to share devotionals or whatever, and then discuss topics. Do you have any topics you want to discuss this week?
I guess I could speak briefly about this book I'm reading. My new church, I got 3 books. One was called The Anglican Way, which I just finished 2 days ago. It took me a month because it was pretty boring.
Okay.
Then also the Catechism of the Anglican Church.
Mm-hmm.
So basically they just say their beliefs.
Yeah.
And then this novel called Never Silent.
Okay.
And the subtitle is pretty long. How Third World Missionaries Are Now Bringing the Gospel to the U.S. And then it has a subtitle. Oh no, this is a quote. Never mind. I won't read that.
Oh.
I thought it had like a second subtitle. And I don't know. It has 3 quotes at the top already, and then it's got this other quote that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so basically, what's going on in the Anglican Church right now is there are big doctrinal disputes about what's kosher and what's not kosher.
Really?
So the Episcopalian Church a couple years ago ordained an openly gay bishop. Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of stuff going on where Episcopalians are saying that basically they're saying that since the Bible is flawed and we need to not listen to it and we move on.
What?
So the church I attend now isn't Episcopalian. What's happened in the last 10 decades is that a ton of people have left the Episcopalian Church, and they still want to be within the Anglican Church as a whole. So now they've formed the Anglican Church of North America, which isn't actually recognized by the Church of England. Which is headed in Canterbury in England.
So the Anglican Church of North America was formed by ex-Episcopalians?
Yes, who disagree with the direction the Episcopalian Church is currently headed.
I see.
So, I asked my priest about it. The first day I attended, he came up and spoke to me because not too many people go to the church. So he came up to me and he's like, "Hey, what's your name?" I talked to him and I said, "So, when I looked up Anglican churches, it gave me Episcopalian churches, and then it gave me this one, which is Anglican." I was like, "Oh, what's the difference? What's going on?" And he said, "Well, we're going through a transitional period where we're not with the Episcopalian church." And I said, "Is that because of the gay issue?" And he said, "Well, yeah, but that's sort of only the tip of the iceberg." And he said his bishop, when he was an Episcopalian priest, said that, again, I'm paraphrasing here, but this bishop said, "Man wrote the Bible and man can rewrite the Bible."
Wow.
So they're just, that's a very controversial thing to say. So a lot of people have left the Episcopalian Church just because of that general mindset.
Yeah.
And that's how this church was formed. And for the longest time, actually, the church that we're in now isn't even like they just got this church a couple months ago. They used to be using the gymnasium at a nearby Christian university.
Okay.
And that's where they were meeting for years. So, whoa, getting a text there.
Sorry, was that me?
Yeah, that was you.
Special weather statement.
Sounds like you have a tornado coming your way.
A line of thunderstorms. Wind gusts around 50 miles per hour and hail. All right. Well, that's our weather section of the podcast.
All right. Yeah, I hope
back to our scheduled programming.
I hope everyone who's listening to this is listening to it today and in Western Michigan. So, this book I'm reading called Never Silent is about how Christians from places like Africa have come to the U.S. and are now basically telling people about God. So I'm not very far in it, but it's pretty interesting. The priest who wrote it said he was reading this book by a Ugandan man, and in the 90s in Uganda there was this horrible Muslim guy, and let me see if I can find his name real quick. His name is Idi Amin, and he killed a lot of people, just a lot of innocent people. And I think he was like some kind of warlord. To be honest, I don't know much. Oh, he was president of Uganda from 1971 to 1979, and he slaughtered hundreds of thousands of Ugandans apparently. So he, not a great guy. Basically, this priest had read a book written by an African priest called "I Love Idi Amin," and it's all about how this guy absolutely hated Idi Amin, but he realized his hatred started to consume him, so he had to instead come to love him. And it's all about how we have to love absolutely everyone, even horrible people like him. So apparently, as he was reading, once he read this book, this priest, he was like so amazed by it. He's like, this man went through horrible things, and yet he still manages to love people like that. And he was thinking, is there a way I can learn that? So, like the next day, he meets an African priest studying at a seminary nearby. And he says, "Hey, are you from East Africa?" And he says, "I am." He says, "Have you ever been to Uganda?" And he says, "Yes, that's where I'm from." And he asks him about Idi Amin, and he says, "Yeah, I actually met Idi Amin. He held me at gunpoint."
Oh my goodness.
So basically, what ends up happening is this priest who wrote the book, he said, "Hey, he said to the African guy whose name is John, hey, would you mind sharing a bit during the sermon today?" And he says, "Sure." And what ends up happening is he starts sharing sermons all around Pittsburgh, which is the city they're in, and then the East Coast, and he gets more popular and famous, and he starts traveling all around the U.S. while he's getting his master's degree. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm not very far.
Okay.
And it's like, he countered a lot of racism. Like a lot of people were saying, you've got to admit his theology is very primitive.
Okay.
Things like that. Or people would say, I wish he has no right to come talking to us. He needs to stay in Africa and preach to the people there. Things like that.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
Wow.
But I've just started. I'm very much enjoying it.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. So the church that you go to is an Anglican church in North America?
Yeah, it's not Episcopalian. It's pretty interesting. I'm kind of hoping that the Church of England will accept it as the Anglican Church of North America as valid. Because I really just want the Queen to be the head of my church.
Okay.
So that's how it works in the Anglican Church.
All right.
That's all I want in life, as well as my cakes.
Maybe if you bake a cake for the Queen on behalf of the ACNA, she'll see.
My granny had a friend who used to make hats for the Queen, actually, like officially.
Really? Nice.
She's got a signed photo of the Queen in her house.
Cool. wearing one of her hats?
Maybe, yeah. I don't remember. I don't remember the picture too well. Maybe I'll check it out.
That's cool.
So yeah, dude, I like my Anglican church. I don't know if I told you, but like in the first month of me going there, that priest like referenced Lord of the Rings twice in his sermons.
Nice. That's how you know it's a good church.
Yeah, that's how you know the doctrine is sound.
Exactly.
Yes.
I love it. Well, I'm really glad that you've found a church that you feel good in.
Thank you. It's the first one I really felt comfortable.
Yeah. All right. So I don't have a topic for this week, and we've got about maybe 15 minutes until I should head it out.
Are you reading any books?
I am kind of. I'm reading a book called The Company We Keep. It's by, I think, Jonathan Holmes, who is actually an attendee at, or he might even be part of leadership at the church where Alistair Begg pastors. I don't know if you've heard of Alistair Begg, but
I'm afraid not.
Okay, well, he's a Scottish preacher.
Cool.
I think it's a Presbyterian church. It might be a non-denominational, but it's reformed. So I listen to.
Didn't the Scots make Presbyterianism, or am I confused?
Say again.
Didn't the Scots make Presbyterianism, or am I confused?
It originated in Scotland, yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
But it was it was a culmination of various different. Kind of all started with the Reformation, John Calvin, not the Anglican Church. Well, maybe the Anglican Church, yeah, because the Anglican Church started with King Henry or something, right?
Yes, it did.
Yeah, and then
there was all started loosely.
Yeah. Then there was all kinds of different controversies and stuff, and then there was the Puritans who like wanted to stick with the Reformed traditions in the church, and then they kind of branched off, and yeah, it's just the culmination of lots of history and everything. Yeah. But yeah, Scotland had a huge part in it. So,
have you heard of the Perfectionists?
No, I have not.
It was a weird American religious movement that started.
There were a lot of those.
Ago, so. Yeah, there were a lot of those. Basically, they believed that oh my gosh, they believed that since Jesus died, we're already perfect, so we can do whatever we want.
Okay, what?
They became a little cultish.
Wow. Yeah. Didn't
anyway,
you?
Your book. I was trying to get back to your book.
Okay. I was just gonna say, didn't you either semi-seriously or completely jokingly consider becoming a Quaker at one point?
Yeah, I was joking because I just didn't know what denomination, so I took an online denomination quiz, and that was one of the answers they gave me.
It gave you Quaker?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I think it was like Reformed Quaker or something.
Interesting. Yeah, the book, it's about, so The Company We Keep by Jonathan Holmes. It's about biblical friendship. I am a chapter or two in, and I'm going to be actually reading it with my pastor, so we're going to meet up weekly and discuss each chapter.
That's
so
cool.
He's got the book, and I got the book, and we're going to meet up next week sometime and discuss the first chapter. So it seems pretty good so far. Probably after I've talked to him, we'll bounce ideas back and forth and come to sort of like a final opinion on the first chapter.
Yeah,
maybe I can share that next week or something. So
when the heck are you going to read that book I lent you?
Oh my gosh, it's somewhere around. It's right here. I have it in my hand.
Is it gathering dust?
No.
As you picked it up, you had to like desperately wipe off all the dust from it.
No, it's not. I mean, it's still in good shape. It's just, yeah.
It's a good book, Hayden. I'm telling you.
I know. I'm sure it is. I like the cover of it.
It is a nice cover.
So Martin lent me the book Silence by Shusaku Endo, or however that's pronounced.
Yeah, Japanese.
And He highly recommends it.
I do.
It was made into a major motion picture.
It was indeed. Are you reading the sticker on the cover?
Yeah.
I heard the movie was really boring.
Oh, you haven't seen the movie?
No. Well,
Oh.
well. Let me explain. Like, tell me. Like, looking at the book, how long is it?
Oh, it's about like a normal sized book. It's like 212 pages.
Yeah. So this. Keep in mind, this is a novel. This isn't like a religious help book or anything.
Yeah.
So it was adapted into. It's 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
Wow.
So it's just phenomenally long, and some of the scenes are literally just him like kneeling and praying, and yeah, it's just yeah. So I think that's the problem a lot of people had with the movie. It was just needlessly long, and it's kind of a bummer because the director Martin Scorsese is like he's like one of the top directors out there, and he had been like developing it for 25 years.
Oh my goodness.
And it came out. It wasn't that great. It was a box office failure. It says here.
Oh my goodness.
The budget was $40 to $50 million, and it made about $24 million. So they lost quite a lot of money. So I don't know if you'll learn anything from the book, to be honest, because it's kind of confusing. Well, it's not confusing. It's just very. It's not clear cut, the message.
Okay.
I think some parts of it are clear cut, but in a lot of ways you want like a moral understanding of the situation in which the main character found himself, and you don't get an easy answer. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Well, like you said, it's not like a religious instructional book. It's more of a narrative. So
it makes you think. The guy who wrote it is Japanese, and he was, Japan's not a really Christian country. They're not like hostile to Christianity or anything, but he he was raised Christian in a country where not a lot of people were Christians. So he wrote this book to like kind of help himself and help other people understand how you live in a society as a Christian where there isn't Christianity.
Right.
Yep.
Well, I will definitely check it out. I should read more. I wish I did read more.
Remember, I lent this to you in November. I'm hoping by shaming you'll read it. And then we can talk about it on the podcast. I get the feeling you're either going to like it or just not care about it at all.
I might like it. Does it have like insights into Japanese culture and stuff?
Yeah, actually you might be a bit confused sometimes because it's really in it.
Well, does it explain it or anything? Or will I have to like Google a lot of stuff?
I think there's like a foreword about some of the things.
This one has a foreword by Martin Scorsese.
It might be an introduction because the foreword by him is actually about why he likes the book. There a lot of books are like that now. I think there's an introduction giving like a historical.
Oh, is it the translator's preface?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, either way, I'll check it out, and if I have to Google anything, I'll do that. I don't mind because I actually find like Eastern, like Asian culture kind of interesting.
It is interesting.
I don't mind learning about it. So
I can try to like give a bit of explanation about what's going on historically in the book, and then it'll help you to understand the background. Yeah. So this takes place in the 1600s. Is
that when he wrote it?
No. He wrote it in like in the 1950s.
Oh, so this isn't like a first person. This isn't like a.
No.
Oh, okay.
And it's not even about a Japanese person. It's about a Portuguese Catholic priest who goes to Japan.
Oh, okay.
So basically, the book is about. It's about Japan in the 1600s. This was shortly after, or it might have been during the period when Japan was like isolating itself from the Western world. So the church had missionaries in Japan, and all of a sudden they've like lost contact with the missionaries, and they want to find out what's happened. The main character knows one of the missionaries personally, so he wants to go off himself. And when he the last letters they were getting were talking about the persecutions Christians were starting to face.
Mm-hmm.
And basically he goes there to Japan to find out what happened to his friend, but also to keep proselytizing, I guess.
Yeah.
And as he does this, the theme of the book kind of becomes, what's the point of having faith when your life would be better without it?
Okay.
Does that help at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, that's basically what you've told me before when telling me about the book, so I kind of knew that much, at least. So we got about 10 minutes before I'm going to head out. Do we want to discuss our stories at all? Quick recaps?
I removed that horrendous scene.
Good. Yeah, I saw your blog post where you kind of... I was expecting there to be more, but you just kind of changed a few things. And
yeah. I was trying to get into the world building more, and that's where I've gotten stuck, because it really sucks.
Oh, man.
Yeah, how about you?
I logged into my Evernote account and found all the ideas that I had written down, so I kind of am re-jogging my memory, or just jogging my memory to see like where I want to go next. I have some ideas for the next chapter, or for the continuation of my first chapter, so...
Okay. For a second I thought you were going to say that somebody hacked into your Evernote and like edited everything.
Oh my goodness, no. Somebody hacked in and finished my novel for me.
And it's amazing.
It's incredible, yeah.
I'm so angry.
I'm going to take credit for it all. No, sadly, it's still where I left it.
Well, I'm glad it's coming along for you. Actually, I'm starting to think I don't want to be a writer. Because it's killing me so much.
Well, I don't plan on actually becoming a writer. I think this is just more of a fun hobby. What I would say is, are you like having fun with your story, or are you taking it like more seriously?
I'm trying to do both. I want to have fun in developing a fantasy world, but I also want to create for Lucia a serious story about loneliness.
Yeah. I think for maybe a few chapters, or maybe just a chapter or so, you should just like have fun with it, which I think you were doing. I mean, your descriptions of like the battles and stuff seemed like they were pretty fun, but yeah, like that's what I've been thinking about, is like I've been focusing a lot on like the overarching story, like how I want the whole thing to kind of go overall, and like what sort of themes I want to develop and everything. But I've kind of been getting lost in the big picture, and I haven't really
the depth of it all.
Huh?
The depth of it all.
Yeah, so right now what I'm doing is like I have an idea for like the next scene that I want to do, and that's all I'm focusing on, is just the next scene. And I have some kind of, silly ideas, some like interesting ideas that I want to put in there. And I mean, I've kind of set a precedent for my story that silly things are okay, because I mean, I have a guy with a shark for a head. So I mean, I've kind of set a precedent for allowing funny things, which I'm glad I did, because sometimes I do feel like I just want to just go crazy and have like a weird character or like silly conversation happen. And also, I watch a lot of Marvel movies, and I feel like they do that a lot, where it's still a serious movie, but they have those little jokey bits where it's just humor thrown in there. And I like that, so I think it's good, like, comic relief.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hey, you should, Antonio's the name of the guy who has a shark head, right?
Correct.
You should have a scene where you meet his family, and, like he has, like, parents and a sibling, and his parents are both people with sharks for heads, and they're just as weird as him, but then he has, like, a sibling who's, like, a completely normal person.
That'd be hilarious. Well, unfortunately, I already explained the shark head as him being having a curse put on him by a witch, which he'd asked for. But
Maybe
yeah,
his
so
family.
he started out as a human, but he had a witch turn his head into a shark head so that he could protect his kids, I guess.
Well, maybe they did it as a family outing, and the only person who didn't want to do it is like his like angsty teenage brother.
I mean, Antonio is like a full-grown man with a family, like a wife and kids.
I guess. Ugh.
So, but
maybe
we.
his wife.
I know what. Maybe we could meet his kids, and somehow like his kids have also like become sharks or something.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm thinking of some ideas. I do have to get heading to church though, pretty quick.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Maybe one of the kids can be like a hammerhead shark or something.
Yeah. I'll think about it.
Okay.
Come up with some ideas. Well, thanks for listening. We still don't have a name for this podcast, but maybe we'll discuss that during the week. And I'll upload this with a name attached, and it'll hopefully be on YouTube somewhere so that you can like and subscribe and share this with your friends. And stay tuned for the next one, where we'll actually hopefully have some continued bits to our stories to share.
Bye, listeners.
Bye!
We'll call it Nosepiece.
Yeah, we'll figure something. Why? Because it stinks?
Yes. Yes.